Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Watch UAP Truth 33. I'm John. I am your host. And today, I got a good one for you. I watched the Weaponized podcast. They interviewed Matthew Brown, part 2. And I'm going to tell you, it was pretty, it was all right. It was okay, you know.
Part 3 of our interview with the author of the Immaculate Constellation Report.
What is it like to have absolute knowledge that not only UFOs are real, that we've been hiding that our government has controlled that information away from the base human population?
What I have learned is that we live in a dream, a carefully constructed reality. We make use of a science that is tightly controlled and suppressed and distorted.
Who are they? Why are they here? Why don't they show us what's going on?
I think I have a good degree of confidence that the reason they're here is us. I think life, especially sentient life, is a precious thing. And I think to some, it might be a resource.
There was some more information brought out about UAPs that in the Atlantic that were actually coming from sensitive coastal installations, he said, and they went out to see orbs. And then he spoke of another incident with a different kind of black triangular UAP over another Russian ship. Not really hovering, but like keeping pace with the ship. And it was interesting. And then he got into the whole how he became a whistleblower, the things that he had to do, and the documents that he read concerning, then Senator Marco Rubio and Sean Kirkpatrick, who is like the villain of the UAP community for good reason. Because apparently, in the things that I've researched and discovered since watching that podcast, it's kind of chilling, man, because the NRO, they control this. They have this, it's like a satellite-based AI program called Sentient. And just the name Sentient kind of makes you like, what, for an AI program, makes you wonder, is the thing really sentient, And apparently this thing is able to observe. I mean, they use it for like surveillance of enemies and like, coordinating things of that nature. But I'm sure they also use it for domestic, and I did see the other stakeholders in that deal with that program, and it's all the usual suspects of intelligence agencies that I could list here. But I think you guys know the usual suspects are, the 3-letter agencies, and Department of Energy was one, National Geospace, U.S. Air Force, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the UAP Task Force is a stakeholder in this sentient program. Also AARO. So, AARO can't really keep playing this game because, they have the same data as, the National Geospace Intelligence Agency and DIA and all them, NSA, they have the same information from this, surveillance. These, I guess, I would assume it's a bunch of satellites, and the sentient program kind of coordinates the data, that they get. And one of the interesting things that I found was, so I started looking into the NRO, because those are, they're the ones that are the main, the ones that really use this program, and basically they got like full spectrum dominance over the globe. And when I show you all the launches, right? So I found all the launches, where the launches were from, what rockets, the companies. It's amazing. And also, I got the mission patches. So we're going to look over all these things today, and it is going to be when you see some of these patches, dude, and just it makes you just really wonder what exactly is going on. And then you take the information, just watch. I'm gonna just check this out. You guys are really gonna. It's crazy. Hopefully, I don't get copyright. But it's talking about this sentient program is a highly advanced, highly classified project program. It's an AI, and just the name is kind of it makes your hair stand up on it, man. An AI program that's highly advanced, highly classified, called sentient. It makes you wonder, is this thing sentient? So I checked out this black vault, and it said highly classified NRO system detects possible Tic Tac object in 2021. And the black vault is a really good resource because this guy, dude, he's awesome. John Greenwald. What he does is and he's been doing it for decades. He just puts in massive amounts of FOIAs, man, and he gets a hold of all this stuff, and then he publishes it on his website called the Black Vault. So shout out to John Greenwald for this information we're about to look at. Let's see what this video is talking about. Hopefully, it's not too long. Check it out.
But I do have a lot of fun with them, and we always get into fun banter, a lot of which the content only stays in those behind-the-scenes shows. So make sure that you do subscribe and tune into our next one. But let's just go ahead and get right into the article here and these new documents, which were a lot of fun because I really didn't expect them, if I can put it that way, simply because you kind of get used to certain formats or certain types of documents that come out, especially when it talks about UAP. But never did I really expect internally that they'd be recognizing the Tic Tac, as most of the general public refers to it, that UFO sighting in 2004 that involved the USS Nimitz. It's been obviously all over the news in this conversation about UAP and UFOs for the last 5+ years. But you don't really see a whole lot of banter about that within formally classified documents that are released to the general public. Now, I want to go ahead and give credit where it's due. This is a great researcher. If you don't know who this is, definitely follow him on Twitter. His name is Kyle Warfel. He utilizes the Freedom of Information Act. He reached out to me. He got one of the documents I'm about to go over through one of his requests. And I was surprised because number one, I had never had seen it before, and the National Reconnaissance Office had talked about this prior to where they didn't really have many UAP-related requests and being a challenge, just simply because there's not a whole lot known about it. But there was one journalist who really dug in on it when it first surfaced in 2019. There was no connection to UAP at the time, and ironically, you've actually seen her on this channel, journalist Sarah Scholes, who writes for various publications. This particular article was published in The Verge. And she wrote a big expose on sentient, and again, there's very little known about it. But here's her description of what sentient is during, as she used it in that article, I should say. Sentient is, or at least aims to be, an omnivorous analysis tool capable of devouring data of all sorts, making sense of the past and present, anticipating the future, and pointing satellites towards what it determines will be the most interesting parts of that future. Now, that's a heck of a mouthful to describe a classified NRO system, but that is essentially what this thing is. So I was incredibly intrigued by then what Kyle had sent over to me, which was a PowerPoint presentation about a UAP sighting that was referenced just like the Tic Tac, and they use those words, Tic Tac. Now, let me go ahead and pull up some of the documents that I then dug in on what Kyle got and realized there were actually more that were released by the NRO. But when I say quietly, I mean quietly. I looked far and wide. The NRO put these on their website in a very kind of confusing, convoluted way of, once they release records, it just goes in like this massive list of documents. It's very cool, but you have to have a lot of patience to go through it and figure out exactly what is where and where is what, because it does get a little bit confusing, because it's just kind of a mishmash of all these different releases on all sorts of different topics. But what I realized with Kyle contacting me was that there was this sighting on 6 May 2021 of a UAP by the Sentient System. Now, here's one of those documents that were released, and I'll go over 2 of the PowerPoint presentations and then some emails. But you can see here, and I'll go through it and it gives the full time in Zulu, 6 May 2021, Sentient redacted, image processing detected a possible airborne object 78 kilometers southeast of, and they redact that location for obvious reasons. They don't want us to know where they're essentially watching. The object was small, less than 10 meters, and did not match the visual signature of typical aircraft detections. The object did, however, vaguely resemble similar detections of airborne objects by U.S. Navy aircraft and surface vessels in the blank operating areas, unidentified aerial phenomena in parentheses. Now, why that redaction is there, I'm not really sure. We know the detections, or at least the very publicly known ones, off the coast of the East Coast in Virginia, I believe it was, but more famous, the ones off of the coast of California. So why they couldn't name those operating areas, I'm a little surprised, but it could just be the reviewer themselves not knowing that that was known to the public and just went ahead and redacted it. Going on to the bullet points, there is a rough similarity to the previously reported Tic Tac shape. So interesting line there, because again, you don't see a lot of the Tic Tac references in documents that have come out. There's been some leaked ones. I would argue those leaked ones were not official government documents, but that's another video. But you generally don't see this, generally. So that was a very cool find to see, that they are recognizing the Navy sightings, the Tic Tac shape, and the fact that they are unknown. The object was likely not a sensor artifact or focal plane anomaly, although more in-depth imagery analysis is warranted. Very cool line there, because quite simply a lot of people would then lean towards those skeptics and debunkers out there that this was some type of sensor anomaly. But rather, this was an observation that they connected to other Navy observations and were ruling out sensor artifacts or focal planes. Even though they say that more in-depth analysis is warranted, maybe giving leeway to it possibly being.
So yeah, guys, I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what this sentient on with the Black Vault and John Greenwald, because he does a lot of really awesome work. So I wanted to get into the list of the NRO launches. Okay, so the NRO, National Reconnaissance Organization. I believe David Grush was involved with them. And like I said before, the sentient stakeholders are your usual suspects of 3-letter agencies. I'm not really going to name them here. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NSA, and this is an interesting one, the UAP Task Force, AARO, U.S. Air Force Base at Wright Pat. Wow. And the U.S. Department of Energy. And so all these organizations, I guess, have access to data collected from sentient. And the thing I found really interesting is when he said it can predict the future, based on the data that it collects. This thing must be really, really powerful. But let's check out this list of launches. And I also want to show you some of these patches, because they are something, man. And, they launch from different locations, Vandenberg, California, Cape Canaveral, Florida, Kennedy in Florida, Wallops Island, Virginia, and Mahia, New Zealand. Is that how you pronounce that? Anyway, so these are the places where they launch from, and they launch basically, the Falcon rocket, the Titan, Atlas, Taurus, Minotaur, Antares. These are the rockets that they launch. And dude, I got the list here. This is just Wikipedia, man. But I wanted to really show you these patches. Check this one out. Nemesis. That's kind of, I mean, look, I don't find anything too, I mean, it's a pentagram kind of, but then again, but check this one out. What's that about? That is something there, man. You know? So what is that? Like 3 cobras? 3 just snakes of some type? And I really would, if any of you guys know what this is, I guess this is Latin down here at the bottom. If any of you guys know what that is or what that's saying, man, leave it in the comments. I'd be really interested in knowing what that is. And I also wonder what the significance of the stars are, So you got 8 white stars and 3 black stars, you know? And then, 3 snakes. It just makes you wonder what that whole thing's about. I downloaded it, man. I'm But a lot of these are really cool, but at the same time, they're like ominous, And if I remember correctly, it wasn't like Tim Taylor, wasn't his nickname like the Dragon or something? I don't know. If any of you guys remember his nickname, I'd be interested in knowing. What's this one here? Here we go again. Like, here we have, what is that, 4 stars or 3? I don't know. But here we go with another dragon. And this dragon theme and serpent theme just keeps popping up. And so I couldn't really make any sense of this one. But I don't know what this is here. These golden, I guess it represents something orbiting planet, maybe. I'm not really sure what this one's about. And like, yeah, some of them are just real benign, no big deal. And then you got these other ones that are like, whoa, man. Here, look at this one. Like, I don't even understand what that is. Great Bear. So if I'm not mistaken, the Great Bear, isn't that like a constellation of stars, I believe? And yeah, man. And the other thing is there's the NRO actually has like a top secret spacecraft in space, and I don't know if it's in orbit, like, most satellites and stuff. It didn't say that. It said that they had a top secret spacecraft that's active, And if you look here next to these next to these patches, you see, like, it has all these categories, the date and time of the launch, where it was launched from, what rocket it was launched with, just a lot of cool stuff. Like, here's a picture of a satellite. Let's look at the picture of the rocket. Look at that thing, man. And let's see the Taurus. I wonder what that one looks like. Oh, that one's actually going off. But and then some of them say presumed active, so they're actually up there. Look at this patch, dude. This patch has freaked me out. Like, what is that? Look, we own the night. We own the night. Like, I don't know, man. You guys tell me what you think. Look at this one. Like, what is really going on here? I wonder what that these numbers here mean. R28. I'm not sure what that is. Any of you guys know, man, let me know. I'd really like to know. I'm interested in a lot of this Aquila. I'm gonna have to look that up, Aquila. I'm sorry, guys. I should have researched these Latin terms and these other words that they're kind of using in here. Look at this one. The flat earthers will really be on this one. Flat Earth Dave will be posting uploading this, Look at that. Makes you wonder, man. And I don't think the Earth's flat. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it makes you wonder, I think maybe our perception of reality isn't what we think it is. And Black Panther there, man. I just wonder what these things represent, like who designed them, what do they represent? Just makes me wonder, man. Like, look at this one here. And if I remember correctly, the dragon, serpents, snake, they always represent evil entities, right? But not always. I mean, in India, they had the Nagas, which were like serpent beings, but they were like demigods, and they were revered. So, and then you look at like the caduceus, the snakes that it's the snakes going up the pole with the wings at the top that's used on like ambulances and hospitals. So they're not always linked with evil. Sometimes they're linked with knowledge and wisdom. But look at look at it. And it's just oh, it has like the earth in its talent, you know. And I'm not like a Christian fundamentalist. I mean, I sometimes I'll watch those end time productions. They put on a nice little. They do good content, but it's always real Christian based. Right wing type. I mean, not right wing, but um, conservative Christian type of thing. Where all UAPs are demonic and stuff like this, and that that Satan controls the world. This type of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I don't know about all that. I can't really get behind that. I can't just label uh, if there is a um, different non-human intelligences that are highly advanced that are visiting the Earth. I'm not going to just automatically, you know, categorize them as something. I feel like that's like um, it's not good, man. It's like I don't want to say it's a form of racism, but it's that same type of mentality. Like they're bad. Like it's this primitive, and I don't want to like insult anybody, but I feel like that's like a primitive type of um ape mindset that we have, like a us versus them type of thing. And I think like a lot of that type of thinking is what got us into the situations that we found ourselves in for the last, half a century almost. So I try to be more like, I'm not going to just without more proof, more investigation. I'm not just going to label something as, look at this one, Scorpius with a scorpion. That one's pretty cool, huh? I'm assuming that the dragons maybe might represent like the constellation of Draco. But this is my thing. So they're doing these launches and they're putting these constellations on the patches. You know what I'm saying? And if there was like a secret space program, not saying, I mean, I'm sure there is. The NRO does have a top secret uh, space craft. So it's not conspiracy theory. They have a secret space program. I mean, I'm sure every country does. But now, what's the nature of this secret space program? Like, are they sending people way out and we don't know about it? It makes you wonder, dude. Remember that dude in the UK that hacked the NASA website and seen the off-world? They were called off-world assets or off-world officers. I believe it was off-planet officers or something like that. What were they talking about? Were they talking about aliens, or were they talking about people that are in space performing missions that we may not know about? All really interesting stuff, man. It really is, dude. Here's the Griffin. Uh, here's a cool one. Look at that. I like that. You guys, I got all seeing eyes all over the place. Now, and some people think that all seeing eye thing is evil, that it represents, some type of, um, malevolent entity or some type of, you know, a lot of people give it a bad rap. I just see it as like, like God is always watching, you know. That's why I like the way eyes look. I think eyes like are like the windows to the spirit, So I tattoo them on. I got tattoos of eyes, eyes on my body, you see right there. Um, I just think they're cool, man. So whatever. But some people they try to say that, the all seeing eye symbol is representation of evil. Um, You know, the dollar bill. You guys have heard it all. You know, I'm sure if you're watching this planet, you know, check this one out. What do you call that? Like, excuse me, some type of angel or something. That was pretty wild, man. I think these are really cool. Like, like I do tattoos, right? So when I look at these, I'm like thinking, man, that would be a cool tattoo. You know what I mean? Wisdom imparts strength. And then you got this Viking in there with a huge axe. But check out this symbol on his belt. You guys see that? There's something about the um, and people saw a lot of this during the drone incursion. They would see orbs, and it would be three of them in a triangular formation. And this was going on a lot. I seen a lot of them, and some of them moved together, and it almost looked like it was pardon me, that it was almost one craft with three lights on it. You know, it was really cool. And like sometimes I'll count the stars in here. You know, like try to figure out if there's any numerical meaning. You know, because uh, the United States is heavy into like symbology, man. Check that one out, dude. Vandenberg Atlas 5. I wonder what deity that is. You know, pretty cool. Check out uh, this one. Ooh, look at that. What is he? Who's that supposed to be? Some type of Knights Templar dude or something? Knight of Malta, maybe? Here, let's read the bottom here. Hold on. Knight stands in front of a U.S. flag, National Reconnaissance Office. Pretty cool. What's this one? Wow, dude. Look at that. It's these ones that kind of grab me. Because listen, like Draco, and they talk about these beings. And I'm not going to go there because I don't want to get another disinformation badge. But like, check that out. You know, triangle. Something with the triangle, man. Really, and I was just, you know, I just happened to catch that Matthew Brown interview last night. It really wasn't that good, man. Like he was, I mean, it was all right, but it was really he was getting into the politics of it. Check this one out, dude. Freaking Rottweiler, dude. I had one of those, and my buddy got one. Hey, Corey, check that out, man. Now that would be a cool tattoo right there. Friend of mine, Corey Cochran. He has a Rottweiler, and I used to have a Rottweiler, dude. I think they're the best dogs, man. You want to talk about loyal and protective, dude? Those dogs, they're awesome, man. Really are. Look at that. What? My man Corey. I like that. Yeah, you can go on Wikipedia, man. Just type in sentient program, and then just scroll down, and then there's all these like blue links that you can click on, and one of the links is you know, the launches, NRO list of launches. You just click on that, and it'll bring you to this page, and boom, you can see all the patches, you can see all the launches, all that information. I was really surprised that this much information is out there. Check that out, the Phoenix, man. You know, I don't think. Look, Diablos. Check out this. Check out this Latin, man. Diablos. Now I know Diablo is devil in Latin. Diablos. So is that like plural? I wonder. Quem. You know some Latin words, and I definitely know Diablo. That could be plural for devil. Like devils, maybe. We're gonna have to look that one up, dude. Like I think we might do that before I even before I get out of here. I think we're gonna do that. As soon as I check out some more of these patches, we're gonna go check out what Diablos is. Look at that one. Another freaking dragon, dude. Let's go. This one. Oh, get the hell out of here, man. Look at that. You see what I'm saying? No wonder, dude. Hold on, let me look at that close. Now they're saying that's a minotaur, right? Looks like the devil to me, man. Right? What is it with these people, man? Makes you really like, you know. And and I was watching this other thing today, and it was talking about the Vatican, and there's so much like crazy symbolism with the Vatican, dude. Like it's these statues and monuments, um, you know, and they appear to be like some evil, images of like hate-filled faces and like deformed people in agony and stuff, like real dark, um, sick carvings and statues and symbolism, and and then you look at like if you look at the Vatican from above, it looks like a key, like a keyhole, and then in the middle of the keyhole at the top where the circle is, that's where that obelisk is that they brought from Egypt, um, I believe so, and you look like the headdress, the thing that looks like a fish at the top, the head, it's like a goes up and it's like almost looks like a fish head, and cardinals and stuff wear it, and there's just a lot of like pagan symbolism, um, that's entrenched in the Catholic, well, the Vatican. It just makes you wonder, Um, I don't know. And the thing is, like, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too far because that's not really my niche. But I gotta point it out because I see a lot of it in some of these patches. You know, um, we're like a free and open society, and you know, we have our like our morals and integrity and a lot of that is like inclusion and um one nation unity type thing, and just to have some of these images on these patches, it just makes you wonder like um I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know. But I've seen, listen to this, I was looking at this one, and I'm gonna tell you it's similar to a UAP that I uploaded footage of not too long ago. I'm gonna go back into my channel page and see if I can't hunt that down because it was a UAP looks like this, and it was like changing colors. It was real bright, luminous, but it had the same type of image, these folds and stuff, and like the geometric shapes. It's a really strange UAP, and it looked just like that, man. I don't know. I don't know what that Latin is down there at the bottom either, but if any of you guys figure that out, I don't know. But the thing with Matthew Brown, dude, is like he really didn't like. He went into like basically the snow leopard. That's pretty cool, dude. He went into like the process that he went through to. That's pretty cool. To become a whistleblower, and like people weren't really trying to listen to him. Listen, what's this? What's that in the background? Is that a snow-capped mountain? Is that what that is? Let's say that's a snow-capped mountain. For a minute, I thought it was something else. I don't think there's that much. Here's a big giant eyeball. Check this one out. That one's pretty cool. Another eye. Like a lot of people wouldn't notice that. That's an eye, man. What's this one? Look at that. Pretty cool. Wonder what that's about. Yeah. So anyway, that's that, man. Just wanted to show you guys this. I want you guys
At
to
the
watch
core,
this.
there is something that they want to keep people away from, a real truth.
Back in the early 80s, it was my job to confuse the UFO community. And it was very easy to convince Paul. Paul was a World War II veteran. He's very patriotic. He always
That's Rick Doty, and he is now heavy in the UFO community. He's the one that said that he saw some type of being with an elephant tusk. Wow. Or, yeah, elephant trunk. An elephant trunk, not a tusk, a trunk on his face. Like,
he's very patriotic. He always flew his flag. Those type of people you can convince that, listen, you can't tell anybody else about this because this, it could get in the wrong hands.
Would we use perception to help shroud what we're trying to protect? Absolutely. If you've got an aerial platform that is highly advanced and the public who happens to get a glimpse of the thing, if they're convinced that it's from Venus and there's no way it could be our military, well, hey, that's awesome. Hell yes.
It's been a cover story in the U.S. for a long time. Tell the media, tell anybody who will listen, that they're using UFOs to cover up advanced technology, when the truth is exactly the opposite of the words.
We're really a byproduct of extraterrestrial intervention.
What if we're their farm animals? What if they eat us psychically? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here that are not good.
Doty had this wonderful way to sell it. I'm with the government. You cooperate with us, and I'm going to tell you what the government really knows about UFOs deep down in those vaults. I'm going to tell you all kinds of lies.
Whatever's going on, it's happening at a government level. Everything that I do is being watched. And I have to assume that I'm being bugged.
Let's take one step
There
at
he
a
is.
time. You're looking at Richard Doty, the professional disinformer, trained to lie.
there he is. It's Rick Doty, guys. And they drove poor Paul Benowitz crazy, man. Horrible story, buddy. That's Richard Doty. I wanted to show you guys that. Kind of disgusting, man. So he's a professional liar for, worked for Air Force Intelligence, drove Paul Benowitz crazy. That story is a sad story. Paul Benowitz, he ended up basically lost his mind. And he has since passed away. So that's that. Yeah, so we covered a lot of ground today. Put you guys down with the NRO and the Sentient Program and Matthew Brown. What do you guys think of that? That we live in this constructed reality dream really makes you wonder what he meant about it. What did he mean about life? And his words were very, very cryptic. He said that life could possibly be a resource. I said sentient, right? Which is kind of weird. We were talking about the sentient program, sentient life being a resource to some. What is he saying? Is that like code? Telling us. Is he telling us something besides the obvious? Really makes you wonder. Is that like a cryptic way of telling us that this sentient program is possibly self-aware or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Probably am. I do that a lot. Or is he talking about aliens looking at us like a resource? I guess we'll find out. And with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please hit the like and subscribe, share it with a friend. And I'll be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock sharp every day. I'm not going to miss a day. except Saturday and Sunday. Might take those days off. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. You can always catch an episode. So till tomorrow. Peace.